Welcome to the Martin Bailey Photography Podcast. It's September 30, 2023, and this is episode 824. September 2023 has flown by, and I'm sitting here with just half a day left to release another podcast episode. My head is spinning, so I figured I'd give you an update on what I've been up to and how things are going with regards to my cataract surgery, which was performed on September 21 and went very well. So despite the bloodshot eye in the featured photo for this episode, there's nothing to worry about. I've also just done a tentative release of a plugin for Ableton Live that I have created over the last few months called Korg Minilog XD Ableton Live Integration. The plugin uses Max for Live and essentially enables the user to completely integrate Ableton Live with the Korg Minilog XD synthesizer hardware, enabling control of every aspect of the synth, including some controls that are buried deep into the device's menus. They are all at your fingertips with this plugin. Even changes you make to the dials either on the device or in Ableton Live are recorded with any notes that you play as you record MIDI data. Using the Ableton external instrument device in the software, you will also hear and be able to record the audio from your Minilog XD right there in Ableton Live. The software was inspired by the amazing work that Andrew Norris did on his plugin for the original Minilog, and although I had a version based on this plugin working after a few weeks, I scrapped most of what I'd done in favor of the code from a tutorial on the blog of the makers of Max for Live, cycling.com. I then added more code to make everything work how I wanted it to, and worked on the look and feel to match my own Ableton Live theme dark teal, which I'm also packaging up with the plugin, and it's now available for purchase for just $14 or the equivalent in a supported currency. I know this is music, not photography related, but this project is pretty close to my heart, and I know that many photographers also enjoy making music, so if you're interested, check out the product page at mbp.ac/kmxd. I have more work to do with the marketing material, and I hope to create a video soon to show the plugin in action. But I am pretty proud of what I've created, albeit based probably around 90% on the code from a tutorial. But the look and feel is all me, and if you don't want to use my theme, the plugin will gracefully revert to the colours in all of the standard Ableton Live themes. So, on to my cataract surgery saga. I had been getting a little apprehensive about having a doctor stick a scalpel into my eyeball under local anaesthetic, but as I'd heard, the experience was relatively painless, and an absolute light show visually. You watch as your lens is broken up and then sucked out of its socket. Then, as the new man-made lens is pushed into the space and opens up where the old lens was, you see again, and it was like watching the most amazing Aurora Borealis show imaginable. Every colour imaginable danced around and across my vision for the 7 minutes or so that the procedure took. I wish there was a way to record what I saw, as I'd love to share it with you. I had just a few seconds of vision with the new lens until an eye patch was placed over my eyes, and that would remain in place until the following morning. I was amazed when I saw how clear the world was through the new lens once the patch was removed. Things at first seemed almost too sharp, but my brain, as amazing as they are, quickly adjusted to its new window to the world, and now things just look great. Our original intention was to let the cataract in my right eye run its course, so I could probably get another 4 or 5 months of vision out of my right eye before it reached the level of my left eye. But the imbalance between my new good eye and the deteriorating right eye was too great and in many ways disorienting. After trying eyeglasses with no prescription in my good left eye, it became obvious that the difference between the vision in each eye was just not going to work. I have now started using a contact lens in just my right eye, and the stress of the imbalance is now gone. Ultimately, though, we decided to book the surgery for the right eye at the earliest available date, which is December 4. So I'll be in good shape visually now for my Japan winter tours and complete Namibia tour in 2024. The timing was pretty good across the board, really. My eyesight deteriorated rapidly as the cataracts got a hold, but not knowing the cause, I had my glasses prescription changed in November and then again at the end of March this year. My glasses enabled me to see well for a few months after each change, so I could see fine during my Japan and Namibia workshops, but as I finished my second Namibia workshop, I started to struggle to see again. Also, because we were increasing the prescription to pull out as much vision as possible, I started to feel as though I was being pulled or turned to the left all the time. In November 2022, I'd been told that I had mild cataracts, but they were not enough to affect my vision. It really took a good ophthalmologist to see and let me know that I had a type of cataract that progressed quickly and affected my vision more than a less experienced ophthalmologist would expect. It took a number of visits to different hospitals and clinics to understand what was really happening. Then in August this year, the ophthalmologist who first told me my rapidly deteriorating eyesight was due to the cataracts, followed by telling me that I would lose the ability to focus when I had the artificial lenses put into my eyes. I tried to get them to reassure me that I'd be able to live normally, but everything they said made me more nervous. I ended up asking the ophthalmologist to write me a letter of recommendation for an eye centre at a large university hospital not far from where I live here in Tokyo. And once again, the young ophthalmologist who saw me thought that my cataracts were not serious enough to operate. I told them, I cannot see. If this is not caused by cataracts, I need to know what the cause is. They then referred me to a more experienced doctor in their eye centre who knew what she was looking at and agreed to perform the surgery on my left eye. In the 3 weeks that I had to wait to see the more experienced ophthalmologist, I also armed myself with more information. I spoke to someone at the archery club that I use about my cataracts, and they told me the name of another member that had just had the surgery on both eyes. It turns out that the first clinic I had talked to that gave me the bejeebers about not being able to focus was talking about monofocal lenses. They are probably too small a clinic to tell me about the trifocal lenses because they probably didn't have the required license to use this technology. On the Japan National Health Service, I can only get monofocal lenses, but with a hefty additional payment for private medication, I found that I could get lenses that allowed me to focus on near, mid-distance and far-distance objects, which is what I opted for. I was still scared because I was told that I would only be able to focus on the predefined distances, but this is not true. My eyes seem to shift focus depending on the distance that I'm looking at, pretty much like my old lenses did. But now I can see incredibly clearly with my left eye, and no longer need glasses for distant objects, as I've done since I was 19 years old. The only downside of these trifocal lenses is that I see halos around all lights at night. It's actually quite pretty and doesn't bother me so much, but last night as I walked home from the convenience store, I looked up at the full moon, as I always do when it's visible, and I got quite emotional as I realised that I would never see the full moon again without its additional new rings caused by my lenses. I was probably feeling a little bit fragile as I'd had a bad day, but it was a poignant thought. I honestly didn't think that I would have such problems with my eyes in my mid-50s. Even when I was told I had mild cataracts last November, I thought I probably had many years of eyesight left before I had to do anything about it. As I stand, I will have had both of my natural lenses replaced before I turn 57, and that does kind of sadden me, but I'm eternally grateful to still have the gift of sight. The degree to which my eyesight deteriorated this year was scary, and when I didn't have a reason for the deterioration, the thought of eventually losing my eyesight became a very real and scary thought. Ultimately, I'll be able to see without glasses for the first time in almost 40 years, and not just see, but see really well. So I'm incredibly grateful for the technology and the amazing people that have made this possible. I'm gradually going to be able to shift this to one of them many experiences that make me stronger and my life richer. Before we finish, I'd like to let you know that I released episode 823 of this podcast without an audio element to point you to the video, mainly because of time constraints. I'd made a video last month to talk about working with collections as I updated my Namibia portfolio for the first time in around 4 years. It's a bit long-winded, but I added chapters so that you can jump ahead easily, so watch the bits that interest you. You can either go to mbp.ac/823 or I've added the video to this post, which is at mbp.ac/824. Okay, so we'll wrap it up there for now. I have another video to push out next week, as I was interviewed by Matt Jason for his YouTube channel a few weeks ago, and Matt kindly allowed me to share the video with you as well, so stay tuned for that. I think it was a good conversation. Thanks very much for listening today. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider supporting us on Patreon, which comes with various benefits depending on your contribution. From basic support and access to the MBP community forum to full-blown photography mentorships. For further details, check out our Patreon page at mbp.ac/Patreon. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn and Threads, and links to everything I'm up to are at martinbaileyphotography.com, so do drop by and take a look. I'll be back next week with that video conversation. But in the meantime, you take care and have a great week, whatever you're doing. Bye bye.